I have wanted to watch this video for a while. Because I'm currently checking out a show called Frieren, or Frieren, or Ferrero Rocher, right? And I am 10 episodes in, and it is genuinely one of the most impressive first impressions any show has given me. Like, I am talking, I really hope it doesn't fall off, and I'm going to assume it doesn't. Also, say hi to YouTube chat. I am going to assume it doesn't fall off because of the quality of it. We're 10 episodes in, and I am talking consistent nines and tens. Like, I promise you, if you haven't watched this show, do. Go and watch Frieren. Again, I'm only 10 episodes in. But, like, it's got insanely good music. Elite writing. Unbelievable atmosphere scenes. It does, it deals with, an emotionless character so bloody well. And I know she's not emotionless, but a character who doesn't show a lot of emotion so bloody well. The dialogue is just unbelievable. And the art style I absolutely love. Like, there'll be a scene, and in the next scene will just be a straight up water painting work of art. And I love, like, water painting. I'm not really an art guy. But I love, like, splotchy wood landscapes. So that's another underrated thing. That the voice acting's amazing, the characters are amazing. Just go and watch it. And then there was another show that I watched last year. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan. And it was called The Rings of Power. And that truly was a show of all time. And it had a female lead, just like Frieren. And she was one of the most unlikable characters in any show ever. And if it wasn't Lord of the Rings, then I probably wouldn't have finished it. Somehow I did finish that show. It had amazing music. The music is Bear McCreary, the guy who done God of War music. So I knew the music was going to be good. It had maybe a couple of good fight scenes, some alright dialogue now and then, but very bland, very Western woman is powerful and doesn't need no one else type vibes. That just didn't click with me. Shout out to all the feminists. Whereas Frieren is doing a female lead just done expertly. And I haven't even spoken about the sub lead or whatever the hell you call the second lead in the show. I don't know the correct term. But Fern is I might like Fern more than Frieren. She might be my favorite character. And it's very hard to do shows like Frieren to a male audience. Obviously, the females are going to love it, but it's hard to do a show that has, you know, how do I explain it? Like, girly stuff, I guess, you know, flowers and cute music and, you know, sisterly bonding, big sister, little sister bonding, you know, that only may be more relatable to women, which is fine. But we've all got sisters, we've all got mothers. Well, we don't all have sisters, but you get nieces, whatever, cousins, stuff like that. So it still hits hard even as a Giga Chad 6'5" One Punch Man enjoyer. So I guess that's the best, a good nutshell of how Frieren is still an amazing show. That I never thought I would like. I really didn't. Like, you look at it just from a distance and you think it's going to be some cutesy, girly show. And it is that, and I love it. You're 6'5"? No, 6'6". Anyway. Or am I 6'7"? One of them. I am trending on Twitter already. True. Go and check out my Twitter, OmarioRpg. This is Frieren vs. Galadriel from a YouTuber called Roaming Trend, and it's how to write a likable character. Now, I hope there aren't no spoilers. Yeah, always add an inch. Anyway. Another thing about Frieren that I love is it reminds me of Vinland Saga, which is my favorite anime of all time. And it reminds me sometimes of Lord of the Rings, which is the best movie franchise of all time, in my opinion. And those aren't bad comparisons. If you watch the show, you'll see like it's fantasy done right, dialogue done right. It takes its time with its characters and shows. And Rings of Power didn't. Rings of Power just rushed a lot of nonsense in your face. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing the comparisons here. So shout out to this YouTuber. This is a sick idea. I've brought up Lord of the Rings so many times. Listening to Frieren. The music reminds me of Lord of the Rings as well. Watching Frieren. So I'm super looking forward to watching this video. So let's get straight into it. We are live on Twitch. So twitch.tv/OmarioRpg. If anyone's ever got videos that they want me to react to, come on to Twitch. Follow me. And you definitely won't get timed out when you post the link in my chat. You won't. That won't happen. Everyone say hello to YouTube. And let's get straight into this.
This video, I took the time to not only... Okay, third time's the charm.
He's using my music. He's using my intro. Help us? Chat. I'll give you some bread. Maybe some water.
After being sent to the Shadow Realm twice by Toho, I hope this time I can outfox them.
What the hell's Toho? Oh, shit. Oh, no. Has he been copyrighted 3 times? As of this minute, I think I'm at 2 days away from posting Frieren episode 1. Oh, God. Well, hopefully my editor's done a good job. Hopefully the black bars of justice protect us.
And keep this video. I took the time to not only cut the clips that they claim were infringing copyright, I also reworked the script and added new content to clarify my points. So those who have seen
this
the
is my
video
intro.
Before have something new to watch as well.
As if he stole my anime opening.
Hey kid, are you interested in a story about an overpowered elf girl who, after a tragic loss, travels through a fantasy realm to fight evil alongside diverse, quirky characters?
Now, how good does that sound?
If you thought I was talking about the Lord of the Rings of Power, you'd be wrong. Let's face it, the Rings of Power had a chance to be a good show, but ultimately failed to capture the whimsical nature of Tolkien's work. Luckily, Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, or So No Frieren, is everything the Rings of Power wishes it could be, and does more justice to Tolkien's work without even using the same name or characters. But what I found most interesting is the surprising similarities between Frieren and Galadriel.
Oh, wow.
As they both share similar character traits, motivations, and even some of the same flaws.
No. They don't share no traits, personality-wise. Well, we'll see.
Of course, just having those traits doesn't necessarily make a character well written. I know there are a ton of YouTubers who already ragged on Galadriel, calling her a Mary Sue, and even speculating that she may in fact be Sauron in disguise. So it's...
Do I want to ask what a Mary Sue is, chat? Or do we just ignore that? I have no idea what that word means. I haven't watched Breaking Bad, no. Flowers are manly, dude. Alright.
It's great to have Frieren as an example of how you could make a likable Galadriel. I highly recommend you watch at least episode 1 of So No Frieren for context. It's only around 20 minutes long, and you will pretty much get everything you need to know about the story and the character.
No, go watch the show.
I'm not planning to spoil anything that you wouldn't find in the synopsis. It may lessen the impact of your initial viewing experience.
Oh, okay,
For
gotcha.
fairness, I guess you can watch the first episode of Rings of Power.
Oh, bro, there's a scene of Rings and Power. And I'm going to spoil it, because it doesn't matter. I'm saving you, trust me. Then I know what this Mary Sue thing is. She gets shipwrecked. I just remembered this. And there's no piece of wood. There's nothing and there's just an open sea, and I know it's Galadriel and she's an OP elf. She legitimately just swims. She doesn't use no magic. No, it's not explained to you. Oh my god. Like, her plan is ridiculous. Oh my god, I really hope he brings that up. It's the dumbest thing I just remembered.
Hour 2. Also, I gotta be honest with you, whatever character analysis I do in Galadriel may not even be accurate.
Scene.
Since her
Oh
character is so
God.
one-dimensional, I'm afraid I might make her sound too complex and interesting than she actually is. With all that out of the way, let's start. Both Frieren and Galadriel set off on their adventure after the death of a loved one. For Galadriel, it was her older brother Finrod, and for Frieren, it was her friend and fellow adventurer Himmel.
Himothy.
Both shows make it pretty clear that those deaths had a massive impact on the protagonists and kickstarted the whole story. So I think it's important to take a look specifically at how those tragic events are presented to the audience. After all, if the viewers are to stick around
Bro, you don't hear Finrod's name, I don't think. Oh my god, he is onto something already.
for the journey,
Oh my
they have
god.
to be empathetic to the goals of the protagonists. To make the death of a loved one impactful, a writer has to make them likable or at least establish a strong bond between them and the protagonist. The stronger the bond, the more tragic the loss is to both the protagonist and the viewer. Most writers know this, so they spend time building up the loved one in the story. There are a ton of great examples. So let's see how the Rings of Power and Soso no Frieren handled this trope. In the Rings of Power, we get to see Galadriel's childhood and Finrod's role in it. Finrod appears to be a caring older brother and a mentor to Galadriel. At least that's what I think the show is trying to establish. The lesson Finrod teaches doesn't really make sense.
The stone sees only downward. The darkness of the water is vast and irresistible.
I think the writer is trying to make the scene appear more deep and profound, but lacks the wisdom to actually make it profound. The worst thing is that having Galadriel and Finrod just sitting around talking in a monotonous voice doesn't help establish a strong familial bond. Not only is it visually boring, it makes the relationship appear cold and distant.
But you must learn to discern for yourself. I won't always be here to speak.
Run it. That is literally what they were like, okay, we'll get a guy with a British voice and just elf says something that's deep, and they think their audience are like, Lord of the Rings equals good. Yeah. And yes, most of you are like that, but there's 10% of us. Brother, Fortnite's got better writing than that.
Speak them to you. You must.
Not only is it visually boring, it makes the relationship appear cold and distant.
But you must learn to discern them for yourself. I won't always be here to speak them to you.
You won't?
I'm just as confused as Galadriel. Why would Finrod say that? I hope he's not implying that he will die, because the show establishes that death isn't even a concept among the elves at this point.
They got the scenery
We had
right.
no
Like the
word for
scenery
death.
is beautiful in the Rings of Power.
For we thought our joys would be unending.
So technically he could always be around. Then again, I'm not sure he wants to. There's nothing to indicate that they actually like each other. When he tells her to come home with him, Galadriel just stands there and watches him go alone. Why? I don't get it. I thought they were meant to have a close relationship. Why couldn't you have them walk together and hold hands maybe? Maybe have her looking up at him while they walk next to each other. Anything to show the two are actually close. Look, I know what the show is trying to symbolize with Finrod leaving her alone, but it wasn't earned yet, which is why I doubt anyone in the audience felt sad when Finrod went to war or when he was killed. We didn't even see him say goodbye to Galadriel before going to war. We don't even see anyone mourn his death besides Galadriel, and even she barely mustered out a tear. One could argue that these elves still don't quite understand the concept of death, but I'd argue it would be a good time to show them emotional and vulnerable. For such an important plot beat, the Rings of Power utterly fail to signify the importance
He's
of Finrod
such an
and the
important
tragedy
character
of his
as well.
death. The episode is 1 hour long. Could they not have squeezed in a few scenes of Finrod and Galadriel doing something fun together? Or show the moment Galadriel hears about her brother's death? Galadriel is an adult by the time Finrod dies. Could we not have had a scene where Galadriel shows concern about Finrod going to another work?
Is this spoiling Frieren for me? I would say that any images pop up, just forget them. Kind of just... Hopefully not. It'll more He did only mention it'll spoil episode 1. So you should be alright. But you are playing a bit of a dangerous game. But I think you'll be fine. Imagine it just a giant trailer. And like and subscribe.
Could we hear about her brother's death? Galadriel is an adult by the time Finrod dies. Could we not have had a scene where Galadriel shows concern about Finrod going to another war campaign? His death could have been a warning to Galadriel about the dangers of vengeful obsessions. There are so many ways of making
And she
this
just
good,
takes
and
his
they use
knife.
None of them. But no, Finrod was nothing more than a plot device to justify Galadriel's insane actions throughout the show. Anyway, let's see how Frieren's relationship with Himmel is handled in So So No Frieren. Unlike the Rings of Power, So So No Frieren uses a lot of visual storytelling. You can basically watch the show on mute or without subs and still follow the story pretty well. And the show uses this to great effect to establish relationships and signified narrative changes. Just look at the first interaction between Frieren and Himmel. Frieren's face is covered by the book like a wall between her and the rest of the world. Himmel calls her by her name, making her drop that wall. Look at the framing of the shot and how Frieren enters.
And his voice. Frieren. Arigato gozaimasu. Mushi mushi. Sorry. Brother's got that soulful velvet.
Covered by the book like a wall between her and the rest of the world. Himmel calls her by her name, making her drop that wall. Look at the framing of the
kindest
shot and
voice.
how Frieren
It's
enters
weird
it.
to say.
She could have been sitting in that shot already, but no, she raises into the frame, almost like she was in her own world until now. Despite there being 4 characters, Frieren, Himmel, Heiter, and Eisen, Frieren is almost always in frame next to Himmel, signifying Himmel's importance in Frieren's life, especially compared to the other 2 party members. The dialogue too doesn't waste time to establish who they are, their relationship, and even some future events. It feels like a natural conversation and already gives plenty of information for the audience to get a feel for each character. Much like Galadriel, Frieren has that elfish stoicism and appears detached from the other party members.
Stoicism. That's the word I'm looking for. Not emotionless. Stoicism. I'm going to say that in the next reaction, just pretend that I invented that. And it's my idea. That was very stoicism of me.
Galadriel, Frieren has that elfish stoicism and appears detached from the other party members. Elves in this anime live for thousands of years, so Frieren perceives the passage of time differently than her human or dwarf companions.
What anime is this? Naruto. Okay, bro, stole my joke. It's Frieren. F-R... It's Frieren.
So there's a good reason why Himmel also says something along the lines.
I remembered how to spell it now. F-R-I-E-R-E-N. Frieren.
Elves in this anime live for thousands of years, so Frieren perceives the passage of time differently than her human or dwarf companions. So there's a good reason why Himmel also says something along the lines of "I won't always be around," but in a much more subtle way. And it works better than the Rings of Power because it's a human telling this to an elf. Now, if this was Rings of Power, this would be the last time we see Himmel. Maybe we see him die in battle and then Frieren standing at his grave. But no, this is So So No Frieren, and it's not done making you fall in love with these characters.
He's the main
show doesn't
character.
waste time developing these characters further, highlighting their core traits, their weaknesses, flaws, and their outlook on one another. We get to see flashbacks of their adventures beyond their heroism.
I would say, I know he's joking here, where
The show
it's
doesn't
actually
waste time
really
developing
cool.
these characters further, highlighting their core traits, their
Crap! Kirsty. I forgot his name. Versed or something. I would put introvert here. And this guy's much more... I get it. I get what he's saying. Vain, dry... Outgoing. Outgoing, introvert, or fun. Do you know what I mean? I get where he's going here. Eisen? I wasn't even close. Where the hell did I get versed from?
weaknesses, flaws, and their
What's
outlook on
wrong
one
with
another.
me?
We get to see flashbacks of their adventures beyond their heroism, which humanizes them and makes them more relatable. It does feel like these characters were adventuring for 10 years. The only one who doesn't feel that is Frieren, who sees 10 years as a measly amount of time. once again highlighting the difference in her perception of time compared to the other party members. She doesn't see the significance of a 10-year-long adventure, which foreshadows the central conflict that will occur later in the show.
And it's actually it as you watch the show, it becomes so sad that she didn't she obviously enjoyed those 10 years and realizes how important they are to her, but it's like, oh, it's so expertly done, man. Like, just go watch the show. You as the viewer obviously have human emotions a lot more than Frieren. So when you realize how much she takes for granted this group, oh, it hits. You're just like, no, Frieren, no. You stupid elf. You silly, silly goose. Just go watch it. You'll see. It hurts you. It actually hurts you. You're just like, no. Why? Goofy elf.
Difference in her perception of time compared to the other party members. She doesn't see the significance of a 10-year-long adventure, which foreshadows the central conflict that will occur later in the show.
But it makes sense.
As the party watches the meteor shower, Frieren
What's
offers
10
to take
years?
her friends to a place with a better view next time. In 50 years. Himmel looks concerned for a second, but simply chuckles and agrees. Again, for Frieren, 50 years is nothing, and she doesn't even entertain the idea that they won't be able to do it, and Himmel doesn't correct her assumptions. Of course, for us as the viewers, the subtle visuals make us doubt that will even happen. So now, you're probably thinking, oh, I see. They made a promise to go together, she leaves for 50 years, but when she comes back, she finds out that Himmel was killed by an evil demon, so she sets off on a
I thought she was going to be back in like 5-10 years. Oh, bro.
adventure to avenge him, right? Nope. He's alive and well. He's just old. Too old to go to see the meteor shower, causing conflict. They all meet up and go see the meteor shower. Huh. Now I gotcha. On their journey, a demon attacks and kills her party, setting her on a revenge quest. They all successfully reach the location and enjoy the meteor shower. Unlike Finrod, Himmel is not just a plot device. He's a character with his own identity and one that is easy to like.
What he's saying is so on point.
I'd argue that we, as the audience, begin to appreciate
Western shows have a problem of stretching certain scenes into absolute waffle and nonsense. Frieren respects your time so much, which is so ironic about a character who doesn't respect time at all. But this show just is so like... I know you're watching a fantasy, but it comes across as so natural. The stuff they say, the things the characters do.
Unlike Finrod,
I don't know how
Himmel
they
is
did
not
that.
just a plot device. He's
I
a
don't know
character
how
with
they
his own
did.
identity and one that is easy to like. In fact, I'd argue that we, as the audience, begin to appreciate Himmel more than Frieren does. And it's only been like 14 minutes. I don't
See?
know if you felt like this when you were watching the first episode.
I did.
But the moment Frieren left, my anxiety levels were starting to rise. Throughout the montage of Frieren living by herself, I couldn't help but think about Himmel. In my mind, I was like, is he alright? Is he alive? Frieren, you fool, go
100%. 100%. That's what we were all like, bro. The first impression of Himmel and the gang was so good. It is annoying that he's not mentioning Hatar and what was his name again? Eisen. Because they're important to her as well. I understand Himmel is him. He is Himothy, but
Go visit him, damn it. And there was plenty of foreshadowing to make me feel that way. Even before they set out to see the meteor shower, there was plenty of visual storytelling that made it clear what's going to happen. This will be Himmel's final adventure. Once again, So no Frieren takes time to showcase the importance of Himmel's death by letting the audience be part of the funeral. And it's full of well thought out visual storytelling. Like this wide shot where we see Frieren at the center with an empty space next to her. Think how many times we saw her in the same shot with him.
oh man, I've mentioned this so much. I'm really not like a cinematography guy like this. I don't pretend to be or anything like that, but I am insanely smart. So what was I saying again? I've mentioned this show has so many good shots. Like this, for example, you just pause it and you see so much detail in each image. It's so good. Just go watch it. What are you doing?
At the center, with an empty space next to her. Think how many times we saw her in the same shot with Himmel, but now he's not there.
No,
Unlike
Mathis.
Galadriel, Frieren understands the concept
true?
of death. She has seen plenty of it over the thousands of years that she lived, so it makes sense that she's stoic during the funeral. Some of the locals even shame her for not showing any sadness.
That girl was one of Himmel's companions. I've yet to even see her frown.
That dub doesn't sound bad. But I'll be honest, in dub, it's not really the female characters that's the problem. It's the male characters.
How heartless.
But again, for an elf, a human's life is very short and insignificant. And yet...
Oh, a bell.
Last time I played a bit more of the scene than I should have, so this time, if you want to see the funeral scene, you're gonna have to watch the full episode. Trust me, it's done in a tasteful and artistic way, and truly kickstarts the whole...
That head pat hit differently. I actually really... his name is Hater, innit? Hater. Sounds so Arabic. Hater. I love that he just gave her head pats. Just, there. There, little lass, who's 1,000 years older than me. There.
whole series. Even describing it won't do it justice. But yeah, Rings of Power wishes it had a scene like that. There was no need for any demons or villains to come in and kill the loved one. In all cases, Himmel died the best possible way. Peacefully, among his best friends. The real tragedy is Frieren realizing too late that her friends' lives are short and that she missed out on making many great memories with them. It's a far more relatable introspection that many grieving people feel. Frieren doesn't have some big bad evil guy to focus on killing to make herself feel better. She has to deal with her guilt and regret in other ways. Luckily, Hyter and Isen comfort her, letting her and the audience know that she still has two friends who are there for her, and maybe she will learn to appreciate them more. Meanwhile, I have no idea what Galadriel is thinking or feeling. I don't really know what kind of introspection she's having, besides acknowledging the horrors of war and choosing to seek out vengeance against the one who killed her brother. But not before stealing the blade out of Finrod's cold dead hands. Wouldn't it have been great to see her comforted by her friends instead? Does she even have friends? Does Finrod have any friends? Maybe that's why she chose to deal with grief in such a toxic way. By the way, do you know why she took Finrod's blade? It's because the writers thought it's so clever to have a blade symbolize Finrod. Look, it's like her brother is besides her, guiding her and protecting her. The writers didn't even realize they were literally objectifying Finrod. Would it not have been more meaningful if you gave her that blade, rather than her prying it out of her brother's corpse? Again, it would have been something to show their relationship. In Frieren's case, we see her look at the ring after the funeral, implying that it's something she got from Himmel. It's not yet clear what the significance of the ring is, but I'm sure we will find out later in the series. Himmel himself made sure that he will not be forgotten by anyone, especially Frieren. He also appears on flashbacks and in the characters that Himmel helped in the past.
Oh,
His
that was such a good
existence
scene.
improved many lives and inspired many heroic deeds. It's a presence that never leaves Frieren's side, even if Himmel is dead.
Timothy.
Finrod, on the other hand, he has one statue, I guess, amongst other elves who died in battle. He doesn't appear exceptional in that way. And again, because we never see any more scenes between him and Galadriel, it's really hard to empathize with Galadriel's quest. So I guess the blade is better than nothing. You could still do something with it. It could be used like Luffy's hat, where she gives it to someone important to her. But
Whoa!
they don't, so I don't know why I'm bringing it up.
What the hell's a Luffy?
But you may be thinking, Trend, we hear you. These scenes are important, but what about the main characters? Which
True
elf girl is
indeed.
better? What makes them similar or different? Okay, spoiler warning for episode...
There you go, feet people. Don't think I haven't got you.
beyond the first episode. This is for both Frieren and Rings of Power. If this video is not taken down, you will still be able to come back and watch this video fully. Look, I think it's pretty obvious which character will be better written. But you're right, I did say there's a lot to compare between Galadriel and Frieren. I don't really subscribe to the idea that Galadriel is being a Mary Sue. While the show is definitely trying to portray Galadriel as a tough and capable warrior that is liked or feared by others, her actions and dialogue make her out to be a highly flawed character. Remember when I mentioned elven stoicism? Yeah, Galadriel struggles with that one. In many scenes, we see her barely holding her emotions in. She always looks like she's about to snap.
So
You know you're in
annoying.
trouble when Sauron tells you to keep it calm.
Show some restraint. Let's try not to antagonize these people.
Then if blood be the price of passage, I will pay it. But one way or another, I will depart.
If she had Darth Vader's force choke abilities, her arm would get tired from using it too much. The only time I remember seeing her happy is when she's riding that horse. And it's such a brief moment that the filmmakers decided to slow-mo that scene, just to have a longer take of her smiling. The rest of the time she's arguing, whining about her trauma,
Such an
glaring at
unlikable
people,
character.
or standing around like an idiot. Look at the scene where the volcano is erupting and molten rocks are falling on the villagers. Galadriel, why are you standing there? Rocks are falling, people are dying. Aren't you gonna help them? Show some leadership? Hell, some self-preservation perhaps. Why are you standing there looking confused? It's not that difficult to understand what's happening. Go, help them. Okay, I'll guess you'll die. When she's not acting like an idiot, she finds a way to make herself more unlikable. Every reply she says sounds like the renegade option in a video game.
I will take my chances on the skiff.
That would leave me little choice but to shout for your minders.
Suppose the words never manage to escape your throat.
You do well to identify what it is that your opponent most fears.
And exploit it.
No.
Surprisingly enough, I think Galadriel's likability comes out most when she's interacting with Hellbrand. I'm not gonna lie, there is a sort of chemistry between the two. It's not as strong as Frieren's and Himmel's, but it is there.
Don't tell me. Tavern Brawl.
He was the best character.
Sedition.
Much like Frieren, Galadriel struggles to relate to others, but in a slightly different way. She lacks manners and diplomacy skills, often treating others as lessers.
Who is this mortal who speaks to me as if he has the slightest idea who I am?
So she often makes her own mission more difficult. That's why it's nice to have Hellbrand trying to help her navigate social conventions.
So by your standards, I am in this cell because I am yet to identify what the Queen most fears.
My very low standards, yes.
And I suppose you did, having met her for all of a few moments.
During which you managed to demand a ship, insult her people, defy her orders, none of which quickened her pulse.
He's also the one who makes her acknowledge her own flaws and open up more.
I have been searching for my peace for longer than you know. Please, for both our sakes, let me keep it.
This show truly was like a 5.
Perhaps some peace.
The
could be good as
definition of
well.
a 5.
There is a
Just
semblance of a
watchable.
good character dynamic there. However, it would be better if they weren't Galadriel and Sauron, because I don't like the idea of this Galadriel becoming the kind and caring Galadriel from The Lord of the Rings because of Sauron's guidance. It just doesn't feel right.
It's not poison, if that's your concern.
That's fair enough.
Not for
Like
humans,
I
anyway.
enjoyed it. I finished it.
But let's be fair, Frieren also has immature qualities. But much like the funeral scene, everything is spaced out to make sure the audience actually likes Frieren
So
and relates
adorable.
to her despite her quirks and shortcomings. The early episodes of So No Frieren are all about establishing characters and the world. She's a stoic, intelligent mage who likes to collect spells. While appearing to be calm and collected, she's not
look at
beyond
little
getting into
Fern.
trouble, being lazy, naive, or quirky. More importantly, she's quite detached from others, often struggling to relate to humans and their sentimentality. It's only after Himmel's death does she begin to address her flaws. But even then, we see that it's a slow process and not one that she can overcome on her own. That's why Fern, an apprentice that Arthur left for Frieren to take care of, is such an important character in the
Such a
story.
good character.
Remember when I told you about my frustration with Frieren when she was wasting her time while Himmel was getting old? That's basically Fern. She's there to spur Frieren on to stop her from wasting precious time. Unlike Himmel, Fern is not going to chuckle 50 years away. Look at the fear in her eyes when Frieren says she will end her search soon. Fern works great as the audience's POV and lets them explore Frieren's more vulnerable and relatable sides. It's something that the Rings of Power is not willing to do with Galadriel. I don't know anything about Galadriel. I only know her quest for revenge, but that's about it. She's basically Xandar from Drawn Together.
I am Xander. I'm on a never-ending quest to save my girlfriend.
Who the hell's this guy?
I am on a never-ending quest to save my girlfriend.
But even Xandar had more personality than Galadriel. Unlike Galadriel, Frieren doesn't sit around on her rank or laurels. Even though she defeated a Morgoth-sized enemy and became the hero of the land, Frieren isn't above helping villagers clean
Has
the beach
anyone here
or summon
seen
some flowers to make the garden look
Rings
nice.
of Power.
But here's the cool thing. Frieren takes 7 episodes to finally introduce a real threat And many viewers who had fun watching this quirky elf will be taken aback by the change in tone and Frieren's behavior. As the audience, we don't even need to know the backstory between Frieren and demons yet.
He's
The
such
shift
a
in
good
her character
character.
is enough to indicate how she feels about them and lets us infer what may have happened in the past. This part of the story is also where Frieren and Galadriel are the most similar. Both elves hate the main monsters that they battle, and they execute them without remorse.
Let's talk this through!
Surprisingly enough, Galadriel is actually the more merciful between the two elves, as she has concerns over what her pursuit of vengeance is turning her into.
Before I drive my dagger into your poisoned heart, I will whisper in your piked ear that all your offspring are dead, and the scourge of your kind ends with you.
It would seem I'm not the only elf alive that's being transformed by darkness.
He was a good character.
It's not a bad idea, and if
She had
executed
good
well,
scenes,
I'd
but
actually have to give a point to Rings of Power for this one. In So No Frieren, Frieren remains as cold as ever when confronted by demons. She's not conflicted by her actions at all.
oh, bro, as if he showed this.
And while the show gives us
Well, there it is, the COD lobby scene. Kill yourself. Straight up. Savage. Such an elite scene, man. Oh my god.
good reason to hate demons too, you can't help but feel sorry for them. Yes,
No.
yes, demons have no empathy, they're just evil, so you shouldn't feel sorry for them. But I do, because this brutal depiction of demon slaying does portray Frieren as a danger. That makes her out to be as deceitful and merciless to demons as demons are to others. But if you want to debate the ethics of slaying these demons, there's a video for that. I'll see you in the comment section. On one hand, it makes Frieren appear like a badass demon slayer. On the other, I'm concerned that the show will not have any stakes or threats coming from the demon side anymore. And yes,
Aura.
you can say that So No Frieren is not solely about slaying demons, but I do want to see a bit more conflict there too. Apparently manga readers mentioned as before, so we'll keep an eye
Oh, I think I saved it. I don't know what, but I heard the word manga, and now I want a mango.
out. I want to see Frieren take damage or at least break a sweat. Otherwise, that'll be another thing that Frieren and Galadriel have in common. In terms of who did it better,
I see what he's saying, but I think Frieren takes damage emotionally. I wouldn't be mad if she like never lost a fight. Like Frieren, to me, the show is her and her emotions. That's like the main story to me, which is why we keep getting flashbacks to Himothy and the gang. She like, it's like Gojo. Don't ever disrespect. Don't even compare it. That's Gojo's problem. Brother, nothing happens to him physically, emotionally, except when he got put into a box. Anyway. The reason she's so stoic is because she's an elf who struggles with emotions and is figuring them out. It's so well done. I can see her being OP. I can see that. I can see maybe people won't like that. But I think she already took a lot of damage, and this guy's not seeing it when Himothy died. Right? We saw her crumble. Ugly crying. Do you know what I mean? And then we've never seen that since. So to me, that was her taking damage. Do you know what I mean? And if anything ever happens to Fern or... I can't believe he didn't mention bloody Stark. But I guess it makes sense. He's kind of talking about early episodes.
I'm pretty sure you can all agree that Frieren has the upper hand. The anime just gives so much more details about the characters, their personalities, their little quirks. It's something that the Rings of Power should have really done with Galadriel. They desperately needed to flesh her out more and strengthen her relationship with Finrod. But the Rings of Power is not just about Galadriel. There's a ton.
Habibi, English is my second language, whatever. Bro, you're just hearing that word. I don't say sin as sin. What has he seen before? Wait a minute. What has he seen? Do I say sin? What? It doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying. It's like duh. No, I'm just going to say duh. I'm not biting my tongue to say a word. I'm just going to say duh. I don't care. Everyone in class, to say duh, you have to put your tongue behind your... Technically, you guys are... I have a lisp. You're being... Is it ableist? Is that the word? Twitter users, do your thing. Cancel him.
Ton of side characters and side plot Finrod, but they desperately needed to flesh her out more and strengthen her relationship with Finrod. But the Rings of Power is not just about Galadriel. There's a ton of side characters and side plots that ultimately take away screen time from Galadriel.
What the hell are you
and
talking
unfortunately,
about?
none of those stories provide any value to the Tolkien fan. But if you like Lord of the Rings and you're willing to give anime a shot, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by what Soso no Frieren can offer. Thank you for watching the video.
Great video. I really want to read the comments, but I probably shouldn't. Actually a great video. And this just shows you that I'm the main character. Because I think in episode 1 I mentioned Lord of the Rings. And I actually might have even mentioned that they keep showing her with Himothy. I'll have to go back to my reactions. That's what I do at night. I watch myself. Yeah, that was a joke. That sounded extremely weird. The vid ended. That felt lightning fast. There probably is an outro, but I'm a little bit worried. Once he started mentioning manga, I got a little bit scared, so we need to relax. What the hell, Sally? Or what the hell, boy? I'm not gonna lie, when I used to think you were a girl, you might have been able to get away with comments like that. But now it's just weird, bro. Anyway. Yeah, but I did it first, Mathwiz. Great video. Go and subscribe to him. Shout out to Roaming Trend. That was really good. I really enjoyed that video. And yeah, man, it's unfortunate. I you know, would love to see more female characters done right, and I get super happy when they are done right. And in Frieren, just nailed. Like, they got them so spot on. Fern, Frieren, and Flame. And countless NPCs and just brilliant. Is there anyone else I'm thinking of? Yeah, they just done so well. Absolutely love this show. Go and watch it. No, Stark's not a female, Albert. It shows that you're not listening. God, classic botchy enjoyers, man. The attention span of a TikTok year-old. Anyway, I wasn't listening. At least you're honest. But yeah, go check it out. And thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, check out the Twitch, all that good stuff. GG's.